You might be finding that the winger position is difficult to fill, but luckily you came to the right place. This video, I'm going to be breaking down my 7 favorite wingers going into this season that I think are must draft. There are guys that we're hoping could be Philip Forsberg-esque from last year and players that should be paying off massive ADP values. I'm sure you have a lot of these guys on your radar, but I'm going to reiterate why I like a lot of these players. Now, a little bit less of me talking and a little bit more of content. Let's jump into the video. If you watched my sleepers video already, or you've seen the thumbnail, you know how high I am on Gabe Vilardi this season. He was traded as part of the Dubois trade, going back to Winnipeg, and honestly, he seems to be the best player to come out of that trade right now, especially for the Winnipeg Jets, who last year seemed to lack offense, and they're hoping that Gabe Vilardi could be the answer this season. Last year, he was put on line 1 and power play 1 for pretty much every single game he was healthy, but that's the main concern, and that's where I'm going to segue to next, is that drafting Gabe Vilardi is a risk, but right now, ADPs are updated at the time of this video, so they're a little bit more reflective of what we may be seeing in drafts. Gabe Vilardi is virtually going undrafted in 10 to 12 team leagues right now, depending on the competitiveness of your league at ADP 172. He's currently a top 120 player in our projections, with the upside to be even better than that. Now, when he was healthy last season with Vilardi, he put up a pretty good numbers: 22 goals, 36 points, 117 shots in 47 games, skating top line and top power play unit, playing over 17 minutes per night. He was finally given the opportunity to step into a high leverage role, and he took complete advantage of that. Now, listen, he's going like round 14, round 15 right now, and his 82 game pace last season was 38 goals, 63 points, 204 shots. Pretty much going in the last round of your draft. That's extremely good value for a guy that should continue to step into a really good role on the top line and top power play unit. Now, I've said this before, and someone confirmed in the Discord that this Winnipeg Jets power play was not healthy, all 5 of them, for a single game last season. So hopefully this year we see Vilardi and the entire Winnipeg Jets top power play unit, and hopefully their top 6 stay healthy, and that could mean a big season for Gabe Vilardi. I'm drafting him in all my leagues right now. He has center and right wing eligibility, meaning really good flexibility. We saw last season with how right wingers really were scarce in fantasy last year, but you're getting a guy now that has dual position eligibility, going pretty much at the end of your drafts with huge upside this season. I'm on Gabe Vilardi. He's going to be a guy I'm going to be talking about a lot in this preseason. I'm kind of already starting to see a little bit of Timo Meier hate in some of the comments and in the Discord, but there should really be no reason. You're getting him at a massive discount this season. To me, he could be this year's Philip Forsberg. He's going ADP 76. In competitive leagues, we're seeing him go as early as 45. But for me, if you can grab him between 50 and 70 or 76 where his ADP's at, that's going to be huge value for a guy that has some of the best shot volume and combined hit volume in the entire NHL. With Timo Meier, he had a really bad start to last season. Some of you were even considering dropping him. Some of you drafted him really early and were really down on yourselves. But if you held him, you saw how good he was in the last 35 games of the season. 19 goals, 15 assists, 34 points, 109 shots, and 67 hits. Take a guess at what that pace is. 45 goals, 80 points, 255 shots, 157 hits in 82 games, taking the last 35 of the season for Timo Meier. We saw when he was in San Jose, he was a 300-plus shot player. That's extremely rare to find in the NHL. And at ADP 76, you're getting a guy that's on a very, very versatile New Jersey Devils team that hopefully will have a better offense this season with a healthy Dougie and a healthy Jack Hughes, hopefully with Jack Hughes, but still, he could easily be the steal of the draft this season. We're going to be talking about him a lot because right now I have him ranked at skater 42, and he's going 76 off the board. So that's about 30 picks in value right now for Timo Meier. Now, for our projections this season, 75 games played, 33 goals, 29 assists, 19 points in the power play, 270 shots, 131 hits, and just 20 blocks. But those hits and shots are extremely good to go with his massive goal upside. If this New Jersey team performs as they should this season, they're actually like a top 10 team, favorites for the Stanley Cup this year. So if they perform at that caliber, Timo Meier is going to be in for a very, very good role. Now, someone did mention to me when Tyler Toffoli was traded last season, this is when Timo Meier really started to pop off. He should be secured in a top 6 role on the top power play unit. He signed a big contract, so there's really no reason for him to be played anywhere else other than the top 6. So hopefully the down season of the Devils last year will allow you to draft their players at a discount, and Timo Meier is going to be the biggest discount of the draft this year. He's going to be a guy I'm talking about a lot. I'm really curious to what everyone else thinks, but this is my guy this year. This is Chris's guy this year. We're both on him. ADP 76, guys. You need to be drafting him in all of your teams. I just want to take a minute to let you know that the Fantasy Puck Patreon leagues are officially open for this season. This is our second annual season. We had over 84 managers competing last year, and we're hoping to reach over 100 this year. Make sure you secure your spot. The links will be in the description below. If you have any questions, just make sure you leave a comment on this video or join our Discord and send me a message at FPMike. I'll be sure to answer as soon as I can. We have drafts beginning as early as mid-September. Everything will be live streamed, so you're going to be able to watch your drafts back again. You'll be able to compete and talk with other active managers within the Discord. It's super exciting. Again, any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to answer. Now, no more of me. Let's just go back into the video. I'm actually really happy to see that JJ Peterka is starting to get some love. I saw some other creators shout him out, and we are going to as well. There's a lot to like here from JJ Peterka. So last year, the Buffalo Sabres had a massive down year. All of the offense went down the drain. Tage Thompson got hurt. Rasmus Dahlin even took a step back with his point production. And that means you can pretty much draft all of their players at discounts. And right now at the winger position, JJ Peterka seems like some of the best value in all drafts right now. So he's at ADP 166. And last year, he was actually one of the best 5-on-5 players in the league. He had like a mini breakout last year, 28 goals, which was second best on Buffalo behind Tage Thompson, 226 shots, and this was pretty much all 5-on-5. He had the 25th most goals at 5-on-5 with 25 goals, the 19th most even strength shots at 197, and in the latter half of the season, he was moved up to the top 6 and power play 1 with the departure of Casey Mittelstadt. And what did they bring back in? Bowen Byram, a really good puck moving defenseman. So now with the three-headed monster in Byram, Dahlin, and Power, this offense should pretty much just be extremely good this season. That's what I'm hoping. Hopefully those defense can kind of carry the offense just like they do in Florida, where they're always entering the neutral zone. They're always entering the offensive zone with carrying the puck in the zone, and then mix that in with the top power play unit of the Buffalo Sabres this season, who did have quite a big down year last year. If they can come back to life a little bit more with Peterka's offensive upside, this should only be good for him. Also, I have to mention that Jeff Skinner was on the top power play unit for a good part of last season, and he's not there anymore. So in the last 30 games of the season for Peterka, he averaged 17 minutes and 2 seconds ATOI, 57 minutes on the top power play unit, which was the 5th most on the team. And now with no Skinner and Mittelstadt, who were both playing top power play unit, Peterka should be in line for a top power play role as one of the best even strength players in the league last season. This could be a breakout year for Peterka. Now, we're kind of conservatively projecting him for 30 goals, 31 assists, so 61 points, 18 points on the power play, and 253 shots. He's actually an extremely good futures bet for over 30 goals this year. Given the upside and given how good he was at 5-on-5, we all know how a power play 1 can change someone's production and people's numbers and their offensive looks, and Peterka should be in line for a really, really strong season this year. Now, this is a player I know a lot of you are going to be on. I actually know we have quite a bit of Montreal Canadiens fans, so stop the video right now, comment below what you saw differently from Slafkovsky when he was given the opportunity for Marty St. Louis to play on the top line and top power play unit and pretty much skate as many minutes as he wanted. I'm very curious to what you saw as a Montreal Canadiens fan that really elevated his game last year. So, in the first 3 months of the season for Slafkovsky, 36 games played, he averaged just 16 minutes time on ice, he had 4 goals, 12 points, 49 shots, and 54 hits. Those are numbers that he was pretty much available on waivers for the entire year. He's a first overall pick, and Canadiens fans are looking back and saying, do we have another Alex Galchenyuk on our hands? But nope, Marty St. Louis, what a great coach. So he moved him up and pretty much took the chains right off of him, gave him top line, top power play unit. He was playing with Suzuki and Caufield, and the three of them had great chemistry, which I'm assuming some of the Canadiens fans are going to say in the comments below. Now, in his last 46 games, so the last 4 months of the season, he averaged 19 minutes time on ice, 16 goals, 37 points, 102 shots, 86 hits, and he's actually one of the best blocking forwards in the league with 39 blocks. That 82 game pace since moved to that top line, 29 goals, 66 points, 181 shots, 153 hits, 70 blocks. Those are very, very good numbers. Every year, we try and find the Joel Eriksson-Ek and Vincent Trocheck of last season. Slafkovsky likely has some of the best opportunity, especially at this ADP 114 right now, going around round 9 and 10. In competitive leagues, we're seeing him go as early as round 7, but I still think this is pretty solid value. Honestly, in leagues, especially category leagues, and I've had some comments about category leagues, he could finish as a top 25 to 30 player with how strong his peripherals are and the upside for him being in his third full NHL season, or I guess third NHL season. And that's a lot to like from a guy that's relatively young and has great chemistry with his line mates. I really don't think we'll see any change in his role this season. He should be skating top line. He should be skating top power play unit. Now we project him for 52 points, 15 points on the power play, 160 shots, 160 hits, and 80 blocks. Blocks are a really underrated category for forwards. Elias Pettersson and Matthews are both good examples of high blocking forwards that actually contribute to that category more than you'd think. So with Slafkovsky here, he's definitely a guy you want to be rostering. I love a lot of these wingers we're talking about right now. And I think Slafkovsky, because Canadiens fans are very popular and he was pretty well known in the second half of last season, he's probably going to be going earlier than ADP says, but still huge value from a guy that should be in a great role this season. I promise I'm not just catering to the Montreal Canadiens fans that are watching this video, but there's a lot to like from this top line, and Cole Caufield seems to be extremely good value right now at ADP 83. Now, goal Caufield, he really didn't produce as much as you would have hoped last season, but that's completely fine with me. Why? Because you can get him at a huge discount this season. The most promising factor for me, and you guessed it, it's the shot volume from Caufield last season. He had 314 shots, ranking him 7th in the league. And out of all the players, so of the top 7 players, of all the players with 300 plus shots, Caufield was the only one with under 37 goals with 28 last season. So if we extrapolate some numbers here, bear with me, he's a career shooter, 11.7%. If we extrapolate that out to his shot volume last season, that's 37 goals, boosting his point total from last year to 74 and likely making him a top 30 to 40 player. But because he was pretty unlucky last season and was actually at the start of the season having a lot of power play assists, if we see this come back to life and we saw his upside with his shot volume, we know the upside with his goal scoring, he could easily be a top 30 to 40 player this season that's going at ADP 83. He's a staple in that Montreal Canadiens offense. He's going to be line 1. He's going to be power play 1. And last season, we saw his minutes jump to 19 minutes and 25 seconds, and it should likely begin to creep over 20 minutes. Now, I know a lot of you saying, and this has to do with Slafkovsky and Caufield as well, with Patrick Laine signing in there, it does hurt some of their winger depth, but there's really no reason for Caufield to not still be the shooter on that left side. We have no idea what we're going to expect from Laine this season. He's a complete mystery, but for me, I'm still on Caufield, who had 314 shots last season. I think he's a legitimate candidate to score 40 goals this season, bearing injury, and he's falling to the 7th round, sometimes 8th round, and guys that score 40 goals will likely end up as a top 50 player in most leagues. So for Caufield this season, we do have him projected for 65 points, 35 goals, 294 shots, 35 hits, 17 blocks. We don't care about the hits and blocks when it comes to drafting Caufield. It's all about the shot upside and it's all about the goal upside. Again, for those that like futures bets, he's definitely a guy I would be looking to take for a 40 goal season this year. The other first round pick on this list that finally kind of broke out last season, and he's starting to show how elite he actually is. He raised all of his stats last year. He raised his goal rate from 0.2 per game to 3.4 per game. His points per game from 0.48 to 0.70, and he actually almost doubled his shot rate from 1.6 to 2.65 at the expense of a lower hit rate, but that's completely fine because now he's a candidate this season to be a 30 goal scorer, 200 shots, and over 100 hits. Very similar stats to Tippett going into the season, kind of bearing a little bit less shots and maybe a little bit less hits, but the upside's still there because he is a first overall pick, so we know what he can actually produce. So his average time on ice last season reached a career high of 17-16, up from 15-13 the season prior. Took it and ran with it. So the issue with Lafreniere, I know a lot of you are thinking the same thing, is we just need him to get that power play one time. Personally, I cannot see this New York Rangers power play changing at all going into the season. It's going to be Zib, Kreider, Fox, Panarin, and Trocheck. I can't see it changing. It's only bearing injury. They're actually one of the best power plays in the league over the last 3 seasons, and that group has played together as well for quite a bit of time on the top power play unit. So if he was on the top power play unit, I do think that ADP would probably be in the 70 to 80 range, and he would likely have upside to be a top 30 to 40 player. But still, at even strength, he was an absolute beast last season. 26 even strength goals, 18th most in the league, 51 even strength points, 37th best in the league, and 192 even strength shots, 28 best in the league. So extremely good 5-on-5 stats, which means if he does get power play 1 duties at some point in the season, I would say personally he's the next man up here on the New York Rangers, that he can easily finish as a top 30 to 40 player. But at ADP 103, you're getting him at the end of round 9, sometimes round 8, which is very good value for a guy with dual position eligibility with left wing, right wing. And our projections here have him for 65 points, 219 shots, and 113 hits. All around a very, very strong draft pick this year. Very strong value that should outperform his ADP. Now, Brandon Hagel may come as a surprise for a lot of you here. And honestly, when I was doing research to determine what players I wanted to add into this video, a lot of his stats really surprised me. He had a very, very strong season in 2023-2024 with literally no power play time. So in the league last season, he finished 8th in total even strength points with 65 in front of guys like Draisaitl, Rantanen, Philip Forsberg, JT Miller, Nylander, and more. He was actually one of the best even strength players in the entire NHL last season. If you were to guess how many points he had last season, what would you say? 62, maybe 58, 75 points in 82 games, played over 19 minutes per night, had 184 shots and 55 hits. If he gets power play 1 time this season, now it's a big if he does get power play 1 time, he is a legitimate candidate for a 90-point season. With Stammer gone, I assume Gensel's just going to fit right in and kind of play Stammer's role. And there still is opportunity. I don't know if Nick Paul is going to actually be holding that top power play duties going into this season, kind of filling the role of Kaloran in the previous seasons. But if Hagel gets power play 1 opportunity, I mean, he was one of the best 5-on-5 skaters last season. Imagine with power play opportunity as well on that extremely good Tampa Bay Lightning power play. So there's a lot to like from Hagel this season. Regardless of if he's power play 1 or not, he should be skating 5-on-5 with Nikita Kucherov, as we all know is one of the best point producing forwards in the entire world right now. So there's a lot to like from a guy who has very sustainable 5-on-5 production, with the upside, because there is still a little bit of a hole there, with the upside to be on the top power play unit in Tampa Bay that we know is extremely good. We project him for 72 points this season, 190 shots, 63 hits, 29 blocks, going ADP 106. I think we're going to find out a lot more news in training camp to see who's going to be skating on the top power play unit. And if it's Brandon Hagel, I'm telling you right now, he should be one of the best picks in the draft. That will do it for the must draft wingers video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm so excited for this fantasy season, and we'll see you all in the next video.